Do you want to know how to increase the conversion rates on your e-commerce store without having to redesign the entire thing? Now, first, if your brand is doing under $1 million in revenue, then this strategy is not where you need to be focusing. But if your brand is doing at least 8 or high 7 figures in annual revenue, over the next few minutes, what I want to do is walk you through the exact framework you should be applying to improve the overall conversion rates that you're seeing on your e-commerce store. And ultimately, that's going to improve sales. And the goal here is to give you a framework that you can apply without having to actually re-platform the store or redesign the entire thing from scratch. Now, my name is Alan Burt, and myself and my team over at our agency Blue Stout, we work with multi-million-dollar physical products brands to help them increase the sales that they're driving through their e-commerce store by increasing their conversion rates, by increasing their average order values, and driving more revenue through email marketing. And over the last 7 years, we've worked with brands that range in size from the Fortune 500 all the way down to 7-figure Shark Tank success stories. And in this video, I want to show you and walk you through the 2 fundamental strategies that we use when we're looking at a store and we want to start improving the conversion rates on that business. So what are those 2 foundational strategies? First, you have to sort of understand the framework. Right? So the way that we think about a store is, think of it as an analogy of building a Formula One race car. At the end of the day, right, there's a lot of ways you can sort of fine tune that engine on the Formula One race car, but it doesn't make any sense to fine tune the engine if you're missing 2 of the back tires on the car. So when you think about improving conversions, you need to be thinking about, A, do we have all 4 tires on the car first? And so this comes down to branding, messaging. Have we actually designed a beautiful site that's going to inspire customers? Do we have all the information around our products, right? So think about like the blocking and tackling of conversion. That's the very first thing you need to be focused on before you even look at doing something like what would be the second stage, which is CRO or conversion rate optimization testing. But once you're ready to actually start doing conversion rate optimization testing, I want to talk to you about the 2 fundamental questions you need to be asking yourself in order to develop a thesis around what to test and when to test. And those 2 questions are, A, does this improve product desirability? And then B, does this reduce customer friction? You see a lot of people talking about testing things like, button colors or icons and things like that. But at the end of the day, unless you can back that up with answering the question, does this improve product desirability or does this reduce customer friction, then it doesn't make sense to test it. So what's an example of that? Product desirability is all about creating an emotional response with your customer to increase their desire to buy your product. So this could be things like copy, sales messaging copy. This could be things like imagery. It could be things like video, right? Anything that's going to help develop that stronger emotional connection with what you do, what you sell, and helps your customer visualize themselves living a better version of their life with your product. Now, the second side of that is once you've sold them emotionally, you need to reduce all the barriers to friction that are actually going to have them, step away from the buying experience. So lots of times this comes down to things like questions they're going to ask, logical questions they're going to ask about either the product or the process that's going to determine whether or not to put a credit card down. So it could be things like shipping, returns, warranties, materials of product. And if you're selling something that somebody's going to ingest, if it's a consumable product, they're going to know exactly what those ingredients are, where were they manufactured. Anything that's going to be a logical concern is something you need to be testing to determine whether or not you should be displaying more or less information regarding it. So to summarize, when you're looking to increase sales by improving conversions on your store, the 3 things you want to do are, first off, make sure you've actually implemented all the basic fundamentals of conversion so that your store is going to convert well from a baseline standpoint. And then second, you want to start doing conversion rate optimization testing. And when you start doing conversion rate optimization testing, you want to develop a thesis to test based upon, does this improve product desirability and does this reduce customer friction?